Hello and welcome to Narcissu. Probably pronouncing that wrong. Absolutely pronouncing it wrong, so apologies for that. But this is a visual novel, the story of disease and suffering, medication and adverse effects, of scars and cellular poison, of the living who cannot help but to die and of the dying who cannot help but to live, of a resting place other than on the 7th floor or at home. I felt like the description on the Steam page was explained a lot better than I could, so anyway, without further ado, we will now start. Got the first or the second side. We'll obviously start with the first one. Translate. Oh, this is a select translation. I guess we'll go with the first one. I don't know if there's much of a difference. I will go with unvoiced for now, just because from what I know, voice acting is only in the original language, which is, I'm assuming, Japanese or some Asian language, so just go with unvoiced so we can voice it ourselves in English. 2001, 31,000 people. Okay, never got enough time to read that. 1996. Certainly since I was a child, I wasn't on the healthy side. But even so, I went to grade school normally, during summer vacation, played till I was 10, very dark. June, so soon after entering middle school, day after we ordered swimsuits for the swimming club that would start next month. That time was the first time I experienced being admitted into a hospital. Just a little before the first semester midterms, a day where the rain that started to fall felt awfully cold. In the midst of that pure white sky of the rainy season, in the beginning, everyone in the class came to visit me each day. When I was discharged from the hospital during the weekends, they would come to play at my house. But that was just the beginning. Fall came, winter left. Hospitalized, discharged, outpatient care, then starting again with hospitalization. Classmates who once were called friends, at some point became acquaintances, then turned strangers. With each turning of the seasons, it seemed that I was disappearing from their memories. Looks like it made them uncomfortable. Those who lived normally, their very existence. That's why I seem to have been erased. Numerous seasons, white overcast skies, passed without even the need to exchange words with anyone. My English textbook, from my first year midterms onwards, remained brand new. It was there, and my time seems to have stopped. Stage Nana, volume 24. Early summer 2004, protagonist. 8 years later, apparently. Summer, flowing sweat. In a driver's license examination area, a large electronic bulletin board was installed. All at once, the lights came on, and like everyone else there, I searched for my own number. 237. 237. Scanning among the mostly lit light panel, found my own examination number. Tracks beneath the train thudded rhythmically. Because it was just past midday, the train car was quite empty. In that empty car, I was on the way home from the examination center. In my left hand was the traffic regulations manual I just received. In my shirt pocket was the brand new license. With this, I'm also normally licensed here. remembered somewhat seriously, but didn't feel any particular strong emotion. Not like I wanted to drive cars, or did I really have another purpose in mind? It was just people around me were going to the training center. I recommended that I at least get a driver's license. That night, when I reported to my parents that I got my license. "Is that so?" was the short reply. As an experiment, I tried saying that I wanted to borrow the car, and just as shortly came a "you can't." It wasn't like I wanted to drive the car, but the responses were exactly as I had imagined. They were those sorts of parents. Next day, upon waking up, my chest hurt, so I was taken to the hospital. Only I had little to do with things about my sickness. That was why the initial waiting room felt extremely boring. Finally, just when I thought the examination was over, this time I went to the x-rays and blood tests. I was made to go. On top of that, for a long time, I was made to wait in boredom. Without nursing, I had finished reading 3 books of Jump manga that was in the waiting room. I was reaching for a 4th. Just like that, I was made to do the paperwork for being admitted into the hospital. Brand new driver's license that still lay in my shirt pocket. Looked like the time for its debut was a ways off. Autumn 2004. And when those very noisy cicadas had stopped crying, as usual, I was in the hospital. Of course, it wasn't like I was always admitted in the hospital. I'd be in and out. Last month, I had my first experience with surgery. Being discharged, I commuted 5 minutes for outpatient care by scooter. Even from then on, it had discharged outpatient care, gradually moving to be admitted again. Didn't know anything about PET or IRSA, but I noticed through the comings and goings that a number of months had passed. Exchanged with my decreasing appetite, types and amounts of drugs increased. Even I could see that with my own eyes that my strength was declining. Didn't mean to skip past that. Legs feel a bit thin, but it's not your imagination. The needle on the scale would tell me. And yet, with looking at myself somehow objectively, as if I was watching a stranger, like looking at a single scene on television. Some things that happened to my body, my head couldn't keep up with them. Feeling that what was happening was real didn't arise. And so, even though it was supposed to be my own body, I could only watch myself from afar with cold eyes. Winter 2004. Around when Christmas trees were disappearing from the streets. Perhaps it was due to it being the end of the year, but I was allowed to return home. In the end, it seemed to be only temporary, but even then, I was a bit happy. Mixed of rain and sleet, I returned home for the first time in a while. For some reason, everyone in the family was gathered. Even though my parents normally didn't speak much, while being a bit stiff, they smiled at me. Little sister, who I'd always argued with, made my favourite cream stew and fried shrimp. Sat next to each other in the katatsu, peeled mandarins for me. They were excessively kind. That was the impression it left. During this time, I had just a bit of realization. Still left in the pocket, that brand new license. License not giving rise to any particular value might expire. While having stiff, unnatural smiles directed at me. Calmly, vaguely, rather simply, I thought of that, as if thinking of someone else. January 2005. New Year came and I returned again to the hospital. For some reason on that day, I didn't go to the 4th floor. Instead, to a conference room I was made to go. There, with my father and a doctor, I heard many things. I was made to listen. It was that thing called a notification, probably. It had an extremely indirect way of speaking, but in the end, it seemed like I was going to die. I see. That was why. I was only able to reply with that. I couldn't find other words. When I entered until I left the room, that was all I said. Accepting my answer, the doctor moved a ballpoint pen in his hand. Most likely it was the paperwork for the hospice. To the very end, he was very businesslike. Father was very much the same. It was such a simple thing. That was my honest impression. And then, between a day and the next, it changed from the 4th to the 7th floor, from a 6-patient room to a single. Also, the 7th floor itself was a bit different from other floors. For one thing, the floors were sparkling. The ceilings were much higher and much broader. Inside the rooms, it was extremely clean. Large windows seemed designed to let in lots of sunlight. However, the windows only opened a tiny bit. I tried measuring it, was only slightly smaller than allowing your head pass through. The other thing was, the color of the ID bracelets changed. Since the day I was admitted, the final bracelet was always wrapped around my wrist. Upon it was my name and blood type. The color had changed from blue to white. High ceilings, wide final bracelets. Windows I could only open 50 centimeters. Yeah, I could only imagine that to prevent, people jumping from it, because, yeah, I'm assuming the 7th floor is a place for all the terminally ill people who are eventually gonna, pass on. And probably just trying to prevent that happening prematurely, so to say. As depressing as that is. The day I was transferred to the 7th floor was when the boring New Year's programs were still being broadcast. The time I met her for the first time was at the very beginning of the year. Winter 2005, the 7th floor. Across the hall, facing the nurse's station, was a lounge-like place. Left in that unpopulated place were a number of sofas, folding chairs, and a large television. On that 28 CRT, meaningless New Year's program was running. Watching that boring television was with an equally bored expression was some girl. She had a small build and wore pink pajamas. Dressed had, just like I did, a white bracelet. Hair that was to her hips left an impression. Hey you, is that interesting? Wasn't with a particular deep meaning, since there was no one around. I tried speaking to her profile. No particularly. That was all that she replied with. She didn't even turn around towards me, even though I had spoken to her. Perhaps she had absolutely no interest in me. Continued to gaze at the television with a bored look. It's boring, you don't have to watch it. As I thought that, I also sat down in a folding chair. And sitting next to her, I gazed at the television. Nothing else to do, nothing else I could do. Quietly, we continued to gaze at the television. the screen were the usual New Year's programs, pathetic impersonations and parlor tricks. Occasionally ringing out her stupidly high-pitched laugh. In the pure white, sunlit room, it was dryly reverberated. Say, you... Suddenly the girl spoke to me while still gazing at the television. You're on which time? Which time? What does that mean? Coming here. The 7th floor. Sorry, I don't understand the meaning of the question. I see. It's your first time. I think that my inability to understand what she was saying, she had up and gotten satisfied with that judgment. Oh, there's no one else around, so it's my duty. Duty? Is that kind of a rule? While nodding, she added that there is a rule for someone to teach people who first come here to the 7th floor. But now I understood nothing. And, as if ignoring me, the girl slowly began speaking. Oh, listen closely, alright? The girl's words came by ones and twos. It was slightly different compared to the doctor's speech that I had heard up until coming here. That business-like speech from the doctor, it was said that this place was to await the advancements of medicine. Also called a place for healing the hearts. Most likely, broadly speaking, that was probably correct. However, from what the girl said, that was a facade. The 7th floor was within the hospital, but it was the only place that didn't give treatments. Simply a place to wait for the end of life. That's what the girl said. That's what I also felt and had the same perception. I am on my 2nd time, you see. 2nd time? What's that? Coming to this place. And the girl taught me. This place called the 7th floor. To be here from the moment of admission all the way until dying. First of all, apparently it didn't happen. Anything cured was impossible. Health became better, and it would allow you to come and go home once. But after a while, and it turns bad, once again you come back. Among those comings and goings, eventually you die. A place where life ran out. The only differ between home and the 7th floor. Without fail, one would die in either of those. See, no one else ever escaped that. It was with the meaning that the girl had meant by saying it was her 2nd time. Oh, I'll only say this once. So from here on, listen well. Still looking at the dull screen, the girl continued speaking even more. Such it being not about what time the lights would be out and the normal sorts of topics exchanged between admitted patients. Told me about totally different things. 3rd time you given a temporary discharge, prepare yourself. It's never a 4th. Won't be going home anymore. There's a time that you want to run away, go not to Station A, but towards Station B. Don't eat anything. That's the shortest path. Go in with the least burden to your family. It's only for these sorts of topics that gives one pause. It's likely it was something only for those who came here. Through just those who participated in moving towards death. These were the things that have continued to be passed down. Was the duty you mentioned earlier? Yes, that's right. Someday you will tell it to newcomers too, okay? His final words, the girl slowly stood up. Gently, her long hair swayed and brushed the tip of my nose. Oh, it's time for taking temperature, so... Then, just like that, her back facing me, she began walking towards the hall. I was left alone in that place. Laughing voice on the screen, and the white flowers decorated around the window. And the girl never once looked in my direction. She probably does that, so she doesn't get attached, but... yeah, as depressing as that is fortunately a reality for a lot of people. And yeah, it sucks. From then, a few days had passed. Apparently, the New Year's programs ended. Soon, the third terms of middle and high school would be starting. Today, in the lounge, once more, figures of the girl and I were staring at the television. It's boring, isn't it? Indeed. Word came back in reply, but both of us were conversing while continuing to gaze at the screen. Hey, is this place always like this? I don't understand the meaning of your question. I meant how there's no one around. Nurses, doctors, and to the helpers. Take them out, then aside from our own caregivers, and never seen anyone else. I guess it's because it's New Year's. You want to know the reason for that? No, it's not like I meant that. Then I wouldn't say. Exchange that wasn't even a conversation. We indifferently exchanged back and forth. Slight breeze came from the windows that couldn't open more than 15 centimeters. Occasionally it would sway the girl's hair, and in the same way, it would sway the white flowers decorating around the windows. Two of us were watching the boring television, only spending days passing time. Came days of the sound of slippers. Oh, the two of you in a place like this? And that rushing up was an elderly nurse. Just when glancing at the nurse's station once in a while, this person seemed to be the chief of the 7th floor. So, Sumi-san, do you have a fever? It's alright, I don't have one. Setsumi. Apparently that was the girl's name. Can't be roaming about the outside without permission anymore, okay? Alright, everyone gets worried. That doesn't really matter. My, what kind of statement is that? Really, girls these days, there's just no helping them. A while more, the nurse continued scolding. To that girl called Satsumi, let it go by with an indifferent expression. As if ignoring the somewhat noisy nurse, she continued watching the boring screen. Well, later, I'll be coming to take a blood sample, alright? His final words, once again, the nurse returned back to the nurse's station. Hey, you. I mean, I can call you Satsumi, right? Wrapped around the girl's wrist was the white vinyl bracelet. Looking at the blood type and name there, I asked, something wrong, Satsumi? Why is there no honorific? What? Even though you're the younger one. Hey, why is it that I'm the younger one? Never a reason, I just thought so. It wasn't that I was upset at the word younger. It was just, no matter how you looked at it, I wouldn't believe I was 5 or 6 years older. That was why I took out the license that was in my chest pocket and showed it to her. How about it? Even though I look like this, I'm 20, you know. Like I thought, younger. I glanced at the license, the girl only gave that reply. Hey, I don't really get it. Doesn't matter, does it? It's only just a bit older. As always, the girl spoke softly with no expression. His eyes, looking at the boring television, but they were also looking at some faraway place. Morning temperature taking ended. I got onto the elevator, trying not to be seen by the nurses. Going to the first floor, deliberately passing through the entrance for outpatients. Just kept walking out of the hospital. Destination was the place I was taught before. Not the nearby Station A, but the far Station B. Like I was planning on running away. Some floor home. There's no one who died outside those two. All that was what I heard. It was a scene that the girl called Satsumi had also gone many times to Station B. That was why, for no real reason, simply felt like wanting to go to see that place once. Not like there were any guards around. And so, us residents on the 7th floor were different from other admitted patients. Also thinking about the butt baby, I continued walking on the street to the early morning station area. Resident hurrying commuters and people going to school slowly moved on at a measured pace. Walking a while, taking about 25 minutes. Finally arrived before the station. Turned to the bus stop, so it was about 4 hours distance. In a way, there's quite a bit of people around. That was my first impression upon seeing Station B. Because my clothes were pajamas, they stood out somewhat. However, just like this, or train tickets, I felt I could, without a single problem, go anywhere. Why was it not Station A, but the Station B that was recommended? I don't know. However, if one were planning to run away, I thought it was a simple thing. Certainly, the girl who was supposed to have come many times, but why was it that she still remained in the 7th floor? Now I wondered. Early morning before the station, watching the people hurrying by, suddenly the thought occurred to me. That night, the lights had been turned off. Holding onto a book of manga, unable to sleep, wandered around the ward alone. Normally wandering around after lights out would get one scolded badly, but us residents on the 7th floor were given a relative amount of freedom. And with the lights off, the usual lounge was pitch dark. Then I saw her figure. "Hey, today, you're looking outside." Dark room, there was a response, and her face remained looking beyond the window. Immediately I started talking about what happened during the day. Reminds me, this morning, I went all the way to the station. Just like you told me, I went to see Station B. See, the girl's response was no different from the usual. Because she was supposed to have gone before, I had thought that there might be some kind of reaction, but thinking about it, it was how she still remained here. Did it mean that she really had no intention of running away? I soon be able to go home. Suddenly the girl opened her mouth. It was as if she had seen clear through my heart just now. But next is the 3rd time after all. So we might not be able to meet anymore. That's right. It's likely when she said that she would be able to go home, she was talking about a temporary discharge. In this place called the 7th floor, been admitted more than 3 times, apparently never happened. Especially unlike the elderly, and considering the rate of progression of disease, it was even more so for younger patients like us. That kind of meeting came to words, we won't meet again. Say, which would you choose? Choose what? Which one do you plan on dying in? Suddenly hearing the word death, voice caught for just a moment. Well, I haven't thought about it yet. I see. Well, you're still on your first time. Girl spoke in a lonely manner. Of course, I knew even I couldn't be here forever. Like everyone else, going in and out of the hospital, slowly weakening until someday. In the end, in the 7th floor, surrounded by thin smiles, we come to a choice between these two probably. I don't want home. I don't want here either. Then, what will you do? Nothing in particular. Won't do anything. I'm still able to walk on my own, and I'll just go somewhere. Somewhere? Even though it was obvious that if one wanted to run away, one could. This girl still remained on the 7th floor. And I thought about that. Do you have some other place to go to? You want to pull me back? Perhaps you want to come with me? No, I didn't mean it like that. Then don't ask. Gazing out the window, the girl has spoken differently. As always, there had been a conversation where she did not even look in my direction. Ever just that time. So her usual expressionless profile seemed sad. Told that the 3rd temporary discharge would be the last. First time I'd come to the 7th floor. Then, girl who would soon face her 2nd time. Me, I still couldn't feel the things that were happening in reality, but someday would I come to make such a face? Before dawn, rain fell, occasionally also changing to either sleet or snow. Lightly continued coming down. Then that, I was in the usual place watching television. As always, the 7th floor was devoid of people. Is it interesting? Nope, boring. Bill came from the other side. Don't you know those words? She quietly sat in the folding chair next to me. Then, today also, 2 of us began gazing at the television. Surely the girl was also the same. Nothing else to do. Nothing else she could do. Presently she responded to something on the television. Something the matter? Not particularly. Both were the same. Not particularly. But a response that was different from usual for the girl. Becoming interested, I turned my eyes to the screen. What was on the screen was some kind of nature scene. Beautiful hill, trees and flowers blended into a landscape. Focused on the screen were a great many white flowers. The flowers I remember seeing before. And some of the white flowers were now decorating the room by the windows. Are those the same flowers? Look, aren't they exactly like these? Speaking and pointing first at the screen, then towards the window. They are the same kind, but strictly speaking, they're different. Going just a glance at the flowers by the window, the girl once again returned to gazing at the television while answering. In truth, because she denied that they were the same to me, didn't know the difference between the two. I mean, one is trucked inside the hospital here, while the other ones are set free. Assuming, maybe. Or maybe I was seeing a deeper meaning when it's not there. And anyways, me, the flowers were the same or different. It didn't really matter. Instead of that, the girl normally would never participate in the conversation. The girl surprisingly continued with her words. That was why I also tried to maintain the conversation. Are you maybe knowledgeable about this sort of thing? Not particularly. Really? But I can't tell the difference. My flowers bloom beyond the screen, flowers in the vases beyond the girl's profile. Vaguely looking at the both of them, continued further with my words. So, these are orchids or lilies? Look, they got a whitish colour, right? Though I had no interest, I managed to continue speaking. However, the girl soon became like usual and fell silent. With the usual expression, she only gazed at the boring screen. And when I had given up on the possibility that she would take up the conversation, once again began to move my eyes back to the television.
Narcissus. Narcissus.
Okay, so that's how you pronounce them. Narcissus. Okay, I want to actually find out how to pronounce it. But yeah, so now we kind of know what the name of the game is because it's named after a flower, which I didn't even know about that. Yeah? And Narcissus. While answering, first time she faced me, swaying her long waist-length hair, pointing at the flowers shown on the television. She looked at me. Just like the flowers displayed on the screen, was a white vinyl bracket or bracelet wrapped around her wrist and with white skin. First time that I saw that face, thought I saw the briefest of smiles. A few days passed and the winter became even more serious. Out in the world was in the middle of what was called the examination season. As always, the two of us were watching the television today. It's boring, isn't it? Indeed. An exchange that couldn't even be called a conversation. There were days where the two of us had only meaninglessly passed the time. Speaking of which, for you, when was it? Today. I see. It's today. Here, the day we spoke about was what she had told me before. A temporary discharge. Might not meet anymore. Yeah, that's right. If she were to once again return to the 7th floor, just once more was probably the limit. At times, surely I would also be coming and going between home and this place. For the two of us, that time existed for us to meet again was quite unthinkable. Did you decide that which do you want to die yet thing? No, not yet. I see. She nodded in a slightly lonely way. Expression was probably because she was someone going to their second temporary discharge. I have yet to realize things. Doctors have not discussed my first temporary discharge. That reminds me. In the end, did she decide on her own answer for herself? Pair of slippers come from the hall. Tatsumi, the arrangements are done. Coming here and speaking with some older lady. Most likely it was the girl's mother. To me, since I was sitting next to her, the mother bowed her head slightly. It's about time we will be going. Are you ready? Well then, excuse us. Once again, giving me a small bow, the lady made to leave this place. Then she stretched out her hand to the girl that was her daughter. The girl didn't make to leave the place. And when her mother tugged at her hand, for some reason she didn't make a stand from the folding chair. What's wrong, Tatsumi? It hurts. a bit. Hurts? Where? Your chest? Stomach? Chest. Wait here, I'll call a doctor now. Rush making a slapping sound with her guest slippers. The lady runs towards the nurse's station. At the net place was the girl still hunched over in the folding chair, and me. Condition or its progression, I knew absolutely nothing about. Things that I knew were her name was Satsumi, blood type O, and then the things that were on that white bracelet. However, she was a resident on the 7th floor, and at the least she was worse than me. Say, till the doctors come, want to lie down there? I spoke, I pointed to the couch, something that was placed in the corner of the room from before. Look, I'll support your back. Nothing, I'm already fine. Just that reply, she quickly stood up on her own. Hey, you. Don't force yourself. Faster than I could finish quickly, she walked out into the hall. Night lights were put out. As always, holding a book of manga, able to sleep, wandered around the hospital. Then, with the lights off, pitch dark lounge. There, I found her figure. You're here again? What's wrong? Feeling bad again? Not particularly. Looking out the window, that was all the girl replied with. In the end, it seemed that the girl's temporary discharge had been postponed. That I didn't know when the next opportunity would be, but most likely the postponement was not in a few days, but weeks. Say, just wondering, today, were you faking sickness? The term faking sickness itself might be a bit strange, since, after all, it couldn't really be said to be in normal condition. One thing is, you didn't want to go on temporary leave. I don't understand your meaning. Well, you won't have any more after, right? To that question, she remained silent and gave no reply. Before, she repeatedly asked me which place I planned to die in. To that, I had not decided. The girl had said she didn't like home or the 7th floor. Really? Don't you have another place to go, do you? So, what was it about? What about it? No, nothing. Usual lounge, now pitch dark. As always, without even looking my way, the girl sat looking out the window. Even though it was still 11 o'clock, in this place called a hospital, most of the lights were already out. This place was where ordinary and extraordinary days met. Moreover, we were residents on the 7th floor. Already we could choose nothing outside of the 7th floor and home. In the dark 7th floor window, the girl continued looking out at the outside world, the ordinary world. Still, the buildings and houses shone brightly with light. The roads home were filled with the figures of people hurrying home. I myself had only barely realized my situation, but already I was a resident of the 7th floor, person of the extraordinary world, and a very depressing one at that too. And very short one, potentially. Probably I was already unable to return to the other world. Me whose time has stopped. There are seasons, white cast over skies, passed without even need to exchange words with anyone. In the beginning, from the window, watched lively children go to school, people walking quickly. When I tired of that, I always watched the television. Nothing else to do. Nothing else I could do. Even if outside the window it was snowing, the screen had the sun. Not cold, heat, or pain. A dream was spread across my eyes. I sought peace in imaginations. I only greatly increased my knowledge, simply accumulating more and more meaningless trivia. Yeah, I wonder if this was what the girl was doing as well when she was sitting here and kind of dazing off. At some point, things shown on television lost their reality. Next in books and games, and then family. Finally, even my own body, instead of watching some stranger, lost the ability to understand it as real. That's why, when I came to the 7th floor, I wasn't surprised. When I closed my eyes, always the world would disappear. That's why I thought I was fine with it. Maybe made myself think I was fine. Soon I'll be discharged the 2nd time. Next time I come here, I may not be able to walk on my own. Even though I knew that, I felt my unresisting self to be wretched. I felt myself didn't even have a destination to be ridiculous. Stopping time, stopping my heart, making a large scar on my chest. Even so, even though I had lived 22 years, I thought it was pathetic. January 19th, 2005. After a few more days, cloudy days ended yesterday. The high winter sky spread wide. Recently, my father came to visit. In the beginning, he had a pained look on his face. However, he said something about my insurance. At that time, his eyes went sad. Well, I had to talk a bit with the doctor. Saying that, my father went down the hall. Seemed to be heading to that place from before. Gloomy conference room. Once again, I was alone in the hospital room. Nothing to do, stretched my hand out to the weekly magazine brought for me from the store. They were there along with the fruits and juice that I'd always brought when visiting. Next to the basket with fruit inside, just in front of the melons that I hated. Came into view with car keys. Shining silver car keys. That the cute father was so proud of. With the interior he apparently modified. What I'd asked on a whim to borrow it and had been quickly turned down was the keys to the car. In my pajama chest pocket, that driver's license. That day, even though it lost its debut, I continued to carry that license. It was proof of my once ordinary days. Silently, I grasped the keys. We're about to get into big trouble, especially if we end up crashing the car. I just went and did it, even I didn't know the exact reason why. Simply, I just did that. It was like watching a single scene on television somewhere. Then, taking a few days' worth of medicine that I had been given, just placed them in a bag from a convenience store, and headed down the hall. Slipping by the nurse's station, quickly continued to walk towards the elevator. Right hand the plastic bag, and left hand the car keys. Chest pocket, license that was supposed to have lost its debut hit. In front of the lounge, next thing that came into sight was the figure of the girl, as always, watching the television. Sitting in a deep folding chair, today she was also boredly looking at the screen. Hey you, is that interesting? Does it look like it? Nope, not at all. Usual exchange. Eyes were, as usual, seemingly looking far away. Well then, shall we go together? While showing her the car keys in my hand, I continue speaking. Also, don't like home. I also don't like the 7th floor. So, shall we go together? At that word, girl stood up from the folding chair. Finally, her long hair swayed and brushed the tip of my nose. So, the girl also packed a few days' worth of medicine into a plastic bag. Then, the two of us placed the 7th floor behind us. Turned off the boring television, shrilly laughing voice of the host silenced. Two of us in pajamas got on the elevator and descended from the highest floor to the first. When we came to the first, instead of the entrance were emergencies, normal admittance and discharges, we deliberately left from the outpatient entrance, headed to the parking lot. The moment we left the building, a cold winter blast struck us in the face. The parking lot with a few obstructions, the wind felt even stronger. Maybe as a warning. Together, while peering around cautiously, walked around the parking lot. Then, after searching for a while, finally found my dad's car. The silver coupe. Car Dad was so proud of that he even changed the interior. Quickly, I inserted the key and opened the door. All locks popped open. Hey, you can get in. Alright. I slammed the door shut, setting myself into the deep driver's seat. The girl in the passenger seat, because of her height, even if she sat normally, it was difficult for her to see the front. Next, I put in the key in my hand and into the ignition. As I turned it, stepped on the accelerator. It was all exactly like what the training center had taught. In a moment, the sound of the engine reverberated in the interior. That released the parking brakes and just let go of the clutch. This, we can go anywhere. Should be able to go anywhere. Well, here we go. Girl gave a small nod. In response, I shifted into second gear. Currently, the car set off. As the chassis rattled with an unfamiliar clutch, slowly it went on. It's shaky, isn't it? It's the first time in the car, after all. And while we're in the subject, the first time driving since I got my license. I see. Eventually appeared before us. Hospital parking lot exit. Just beyond it was a large road. Pulled the car out into the light as the intersection. Behind came the sound of car horns blaring at us as we suddenly pulled into the lane. Unfamiliar clutch ground when the gears shifted while the silver coupe ran its fits and starts. As the cars were especially angry, it didn't seem like they would stop honking for a while. And so, without paying them any particular mind, I drove. The feeling of reality was somehow thin. Hey, you. What? Are you afraid? Being afraid would be better? No, not really. Still morning, the sun was high. Looking beyond the windshield, the January winter sky was painted so blue it somehow felt sorrowful. It wasn't like we had a destination. A day under the winter sky, the car swayed with the unfamiliar clutch. A day in our pajamas, two of us aimed for the national road. That winter day, January 19th, the Mito Highway. And then that was so very high sun was turning orange. Continued to drive. Simply at random, the car continued running. Then, when the area turned into an unfamiliar place, I was stopping for a bit. Finally, brought the car to a stop. Inside the city area, by the roadside somewhere. The only place that didn't seem to have much traffic. Stopping the car in a place I didn't even know the name of, started inspecting the interior. There were things that would be the slightest bit useful. We had rushed out without any preparation. I could see that we would be in trouble very soon. Thinking about that first, I searched the dashboard in front of me. Really isn't much there. A few hundred yen worth of what appeared to be change from the expressways. The rest were just a few books of manga and a disposable camera. It wasn't like we had a destination, but it seemed that the navigation system installed in the car was broken too. Also, the amount of money I had was about 8,000 yen. But leaving I hardly stuffed my life savings into my pockets. That, and adding to the change in front of me, I could barely make 9,000 yen. Of course, it wasn't like I had been expecting to find anything in the car from the start. But with this budget, probably be in trouble really soon. I could definitely believe we wouldn't find decent lodging. Well, we might as well just sleep in the car. Might be a bit uncomfy, but gotta make do with the situation. Even saying that, I doubt the girl had any money. Is something wrong? No, it's nothing. Oh well, it didn't matter. Should have known this from the start. To begin with, it wasn't like we had thought up our arrangements or plans before acting. So that, right now I wanted to move. Didn't want to sit still. In the new darkening sky, scanned the silver coupe ran. By the way, are you hungry? As I drove, I spoke to the one sitting next to me. Thinking about it, we hadn't eaten since this morning. Now let's go to a convenience store. No. Hey, don't be so picky. Compared to the Sun and Fall food, it absolutely has to be better. Oh, where's the girl returned silent. Downcast eyes, the line of sight was looking at the pink pajamas she wore. Now that you say, that's right. I spoke, I looked down at my own clothes. Certainly in these pajamas, wherever we went, we'd stand out too much. Not like it was fine inside the car either, but in any case, I had to do something about these clothes. Making the decision, I turned the wheel from the main road and headed into town. After running a while, the place that we went to was some street I didn't know the name of. Surely it must be near some station, since it was a street where about a number of people could be seen. A place like this, you'd think there'd be one. I was sitting around the area searching, moved the car on, slightly raising my body on the seat while driving. Found one. For a while, I spotted a coin-operated laundromat. It appeared quite run down and was in the first floor of a small apartment building. The place might be perfect. Short distance away from the entrance, I parked the car. Alright, just wait a bit. Shut the door with a slam. Then a girl who was making a puzzled face, I headed to the coin-operated laundromat on foot. Just passing the automatic doors, I noticed picked up the scent of bleach and detergent. Inside it was just as run down as the exterior, filled with old washing machines and dryers. There's no one around. Well, there's words in the empty shop. There, rising a low sound while spinning, was a single unit in use. Quickly approached the machine and checked the timer. Okay, like 200 yen had been inserted and it was set for 30 minutes. Also, it had only been going for only 5 minutes. Likely until it was about done, the person was passing time somewhere. Without deduction, once again from the entrance, looked around for someone that seemed like this sort of person. Making sure no one was in sight, I placed my hands on the revolving dryer's door. Suddenly it opened. She rumbled to a stop. Opened in the middle of the drying cycle, she was forced to stop temporarily. That one. Knowing the blast of heat and damp air, took out a mass of half-dry clothes from inside. Do we really want to be wearing damp clothes? And carrying it just like that in both hands, looked around once more, put the shop behind me. Opened the car door and got in. Seeing both my hands full of laundry, the girl raised a bit of a surprised voice. Paying no heed to that, I threw them onto the back seat. Well, we're going. I started out the engine again. One hand on the wheel, I eyed my pile of laundry I'd thrown in the back. Last there was all flashy looking jeans and sweatshirts. All the sizes seemed to be on the large side. They were still wet. Inside the car, with the heat from the vents, it'd probably dry soon. Better change into something like. Those words also came with no particular reply. Simply looked at the pile of laundry. Oh, what else could we do? I know. Even for me, it wasn't like I did this because I liked it. Money that we held wasn't like we were sent on an errand with it. However, what we had on hand now, my new clothes would have been a tight situation. When the face of the moon really came out, we had driven for a while. Stopped the car near some park somewhere. It was most likely some kind of children's park, tucked in the middle of a residential neighborhood. Middle of that, I began to search through the clothes stolen earlier. It's likely because of the heat in the car, the laundry was totally dry. Oh, hell yeah. I was slightly worried about it still being damp, because last thing we need to do is catch a cold. Looked like it's really all guy stuff. Exactly when I glanced at them, it was all gaudy jeans and sweats. It's better than nothing. Likely it was someone about my age, and sideways something close. Then, while we're still sitting in the driver's seat, grabbed a pair of suitable jeans and sweatshirts and started to change. Hey, you should change into something too. Oh, too big. Then you're going to always be in pajamas? Right. Reluctant reply, the girl took hold of a pair of jeans and opened the door. Hey, where are you going? To change? Just that answer, she began walking towards the restroom. You could see in the park just ahead. Yeah, good idea. No need to struggle in trying to change in the damn car. Door opened again with a click. Hey there, that was quick. Moments the girl returned. Pink pajamas that she had been wearing up until now was in her hand. She had changed into jeans and a white sweatshirt. Well, it's good that you managed to put something on. There's no reply. Something I saw coming. Size was too much and dragged rather heavily on her. Jeans were too long, the legs were rolled up a number of times. By the top sweatshirt was in the same folded over. Pajamas were better. Don't say that. It's a bit warmer this way. My word, she gave me the slightest dissatisfied look. Guess something more feminine would have been better. And particularly, girl's usual response. Even though I thought she was dissatisfied with the pithy sweatshirt, soon she returned to being expressionless. Suddenly it started raining. As if it had forgotten how to stop, rain spilled from the cold January sky. Looking from inside the car, countless raindrops on the windshield. One by one, they would grow into too big to stick. A number would gather, overflow, and turn into a rivulet. Then, while flowing down, they would evolve into rivulets and flow even more. Two of us just sat, gazing at the sort of rain from inside the car. In some parking lot somewhere, lonely place in the mountains. When I finished shopping at a convenience store, we were spending the night. A menu for each of us. 2 nigiri, 5 million Kokurai, and half of an order of fries. Been a while since having this stuff, eh? One hand holding the convenience store and nigiri, the girl murmured. Thinking about it, it normally wasn't all that splendid, but compared to the food on the second floor, it was good enough. Then both of us reached up towards the fries. Suddenly the girl's hand stopped. Is something wrong? Not particularly. Of course, always the same response with you. Answering her, line of sight turned towards the whitely fogged windshield. There by the roadside, a number of white flowers could be seen. White flowers soaked by the rain. Didn't know whether they were planted by someone or were there naturally, but those flowers seemed familiar. What were they? Narcissus. They're also called daffodils. Okay, daffodils are much more easier to pronounce. Those were daffodils? Don't know too much about plants and all, but daffodils, I had at least heard the name before. I also recalled that even though the girl would normally speak only rarely, she would uncharacteristically join in a conversation on this topic. That's why I went along and continued to speak. I guess these are also different from those two. Strictly speaking, they're different. They're quite rare things, aren't they? Not particularly, they're everywhere. Everywhere? Like, where? For me, it wasn't like I put very much meaning to the statement. It was intended simply from the flow of conversation as a natural question. Yet she thought for a moment, and then slowly opened her mouth. West. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. That place is famous. Hey, wait, that place, you mean? Just how far away do you think that is from here? Someone who has only started driving like me couldn't even make a guess. Most likely it was easily around 700 kilometers, and even using the expressways, couldn't even begin to estimate the time that it would take. Yeah, that would take many hours. First thing, considering our funds, it certainly didn't seem enough. Even if we stayed over the expressways and used the smaller roads, the cost of gasoline itself was ominous. Look, don't say unreasonable things now. There's no way we could go to such a place, right? You said anything about wanting to go. Huh? I was asked, so I simply answered. Just the answer the girl once again gazed beyond the windshield at those flowers. Glass inside the car, cold from the rain, was fogged white. Cast her gaze beyond even that. It wasn't as if I wanted to go there also. However, also it wasn't as if we had another place to go. Me who has stopped. Oh, the me whose time has stopped. I'm increasing my knowledge, simply increasing the number of meaningless values, simply desiring only information from the television screen. Eventually the real grew faded, turned hollow. But I liked looking at maps. Cars, trains, things that would take me places. I liked them. Spreading maps upon the narrow bed, tracing route after route, tracing stands, coupes, convertibles. I also rode on many different kinds of cars. That ever continuing Route 1 ran on and on upon it. Indigo blue and beautiful shoreline ran all the way to the places painted in my dreams. Gently going around the curve traced by a cape, under the burning sunlight, dashing into the brilliant white beach. If I just closed my eyes, I could go anywhere. Scenery that I had never seen before would float before me as I thought about lands that I would never be able to go. Without any meaning, I could simply increase my knowledge. Probably accumulated only yearning. January 21st, 2005. Sky of the rain had let up. Falling by an amazing speed, high clouds. The ground and the still damp asphalt gave a unique sharp noise. Then all that, as always, we continued driving on. Our destination, simply just driving on. It wasn't like we headed to that Wajishima we spoke about last night. One thing as a problem before that, we probably didn't have the gasoline money. Pondering about that, I continued driving straight along the unknown road. But where was this, I wonder? Suddenly I wound up thinking about it. From the start, I wasn't all that good with geography. All the place names were ones I'd never seen before. I'd been planning on driving onward in any case, but with the navigation system dead, I knew even less. Before I knew it, I was peering at the signs in the area while I drove. I don't really know. What? No, just wondering where this is. The girl spoke to me when I looked around and I lightly replied. Well, it's likely you not asked her, she would have known, probably. Rumor of Setamakan. Eh? The intersection, if you go right, Route 16, you'll go out of this place. You know? Did you live here before? Not particularly, it's not that. That was a surprise. No, so surprising why she knew so much was mysterious. No matter how you looked, she didn't seem the type to get in a car and go around. And maybe here to that place, Wajishima, you know the way? I don't understand what your question means. Well, you see, without getting on the expressway, we might be able to get there using the smaller roads, right? Look, the gasoline costs. Our money might be enough after all. Do you want to go? No, it's not like I meant that, but... Then don't ask. His final words, the girl once again fell silent. In her usual cold way, she remained staring out the window. I had the feeling that what those eyes were looking at was not the scenery flowing by before her, but a much farther place. Those words, "don't ask," from before. Just what did they mean, I wonder? I had answered that I planned on going. What would she have answered? Our destination, we simply travelled. To start, we hadn't had any plans or schedules. Simply, we just hated both the 7th floor and our shallow homes. But for me, at least just for me, it didn't matter what. I probably wanted someone or something to give me direction. January 22nd, 2005. Roaring, crashing waves. It's cold, isn't it? Indeed. Some beaches I didn't know the name of. I noticed we were headed out towards the sea. Intended to head west, but it seemed at some point I wound up heading south. Wind whistled. Beach with a pitch black sky and a strongly blowing cold wind. Two of us left the car and stood gazing at the dark sea. As always, the girl looked far away, with a downcast air where the black sky and sea merged at the horizon. And then, after watching the sea for a while, slowly she began walking to the water's edge. Say, what do you think would happen? I don't understand the meaning of your question. Do you think I would die comfortably if I went out into the sea like this? That was to me, whereas as she continued walking to the water's edge. Her time was last. There was no fourth. Probably it would come to picking up between the 7th floor and home, since no one has escaped that. Those words the girl had once passed to me. The girl was on her second. She had said that she wanted neither home nor the 7th floor. Already it was after she had passed it to me. Already her task was over. That was why I thought it meant that. Who knows? Never drowned before. Then if, right now, if I were to go into the sea, would you stop me? While speaking, she turned around and looked at my face, placing the moon floating in the pitch black sky to her back. Gazed at her, always looking at some faraway place, was looking straight at me. I know, not until that time. Indeed. Then, turning her back to me, once again facing the sea, she slowly started walking. Hey, what? Is it that you want me to stop you? At worst, the girl stopped a few steps away before the breaking waves. Strong wind misted up the spray from the waves, striking her feet. If you want me to stop you, I'll stop you. Not particularly, it's not that. Then I don't have to stop you, right? That question also, there was no reply. However, the feet that stopped did not go further. That's why I thought that was a reply. High sky that could only be found in winter. Stained heat wrenching blue, with a strong wind that whistled across the elevated rail line. Reflecting the blue sky was the metallic hood of the rotting silver coupe. Gripping the steering wheel, and the girl sat in her usual way in the passenger seat. Where this was, I didn't know, but a more real problem in moments, we're going to be running out of gasoline. At the start, we hadn't had that much money, but from purchases at convenience stores, our remaining funds were even less now. Now there was only 7,000 yen. Of course, for this car, I didn't know how much latest it took. I thought we probably had enough to fill the tank once. It wasn't as if we had a destination or anything, but losing our legs would mean we would be stuck. I'll go get some gas. I see. Speaking, I turn the wheel and head towards the gas station in front of us. Welcome. Will it be credit card or cash? With cash. Will it be regular or high octane? Regular or high octane? Didn't really understand, of course, when it came to this car. There were a lot of things that I didn't know. Since I only just gotten my license, I knew very little about this sort of thing in general. What shall it be? Hesitating to speak with the part-time clerk waiting for my answer from the other side of the window. Just when I was about to say it didn't matter, the guy on the passenger seat spoke. Regular. Yes, regular. Yes, regular, cash, full tank. Would that be alright? Yes, please. Yes, certainly. The cheerful reply to the attendant began to skillfully use the gasoline pump. The window opened about 10 centimeters, came to the tasteful smell of gasoline. Say, regular is fine for this? Questioned, the girl remained silent. Instead, she quietly pointed to the price listing on the pump. Of course, this is the cheaper one. Good spotting. Didn't really know much about this, but didn't think there was that much difference. Then there was the meter on the gas pump before my eyes reporting the amount used. 25, 26, 27, 28. The digital display was carrying out furiously. Did I screw up? Looking at numbers, I began to get nervous. Just before I had wound up saying full take on a whim, but the amount of money we had on hand wasn't all that much. Putting together all the change, it was about 7,000 yen. Of course, I had no idea how large the car's tank was. If there wasn't enough money, what would happen? Going by the price list shown, I believe we had enough for about 60 liters, but 38, 39, 40, 41. Even now the meter was counting up without slowing down. In normal conditions, it would have been something I wouldn't have worried about, but as I continued watching, I grew more and more nervous. Damn it, it's still going. I knew it, the words tumbled out. It's okay, we'll stop now. Huh? This is a 50 liter. Just as she said, when the meter was between 47 and 48, it stopped. Following that, the sound of a receipt being printed out, and once again, the part-time clerk came back. Sorry for the wait, it comes to 5,240 yen. Here. From my pocket, I took out and handed over a 5,000 bill yen with a crumpled 1,000 bill yen. Here's your change of 760 yen and your receipt. Thank you very much. When the clerk heard a bright voice behind us, once again pulled the car out onto the road before us. Again, the silver coupe ran. This I felt the urgent fear of the gas tank to be gone for the moment. Remaining funds was just about 2,000 yen. I was also worried about that, but I was also curious about what just happened before. Hey, are you... Could it be that you know a lot about cars? Not particularly. Not particularly. Didn't you just say that it was a 50 liter before? Of course, this might have just been a guess or something that was common knowledge. But previously, the girl also knew about the roads. Also nagged by the fact, took out the car registration on the dashboard. You would of course know this car's name, right? Is that a question? Or you can think of it as a quiz. Tigra Type R Coupe. It's correct, and the specs. 99 model, 5-speed transmission, maximum output 200 horsepower. I thought that she would really answer. I just couldn't help but follow the words on the registration in my hand. Girl flatly continued speaking. Total length 4,380 millimeters. Total width 1,695 millimeter. General displacement 1,797 cc. Do you want me to go on? Hey, that's enough. Correct. Reply to return the registration to its place. Believable. Unbelievably, there we go. All the specs were exactly as recorded. It's very much something that I didn't think could be memorized. If asked why someone would, I couldn't begin to imagine. Yeah, well, I can imagine the girl has a lot of time on her hand, the amount of time she's been spending on the 7th floor. But right before my eyes, the girl answered. Moreover, considering the roses and flowers from before, I believe that she knew about a wide variety of things. Hey, why do you know so much? No particular reason. It's because I'm older than you. And so, once again, the girl fell silent. Gazing out the window, she didn't give off an air that she would answer any new questions I raised. Older. Really didn't look it, but those were the girl's words from before. Name Setsumi, but time Ho. Those were the words written on her white vinyl bracelet. That she seemed to be older. That's little information I knew of her. The sun was slowly setting. The silver coupe continued running. Without a destination, without a place it needed to go to, simply moving forward. The issue of gasoline was fine, but the remaining money had mostly disappeared. In the counting change, it was about 2,000 yen. Thinking in terms of buying meals at convenience stores, it lasted about 3 or 4 days. Hey, what should we do from now on? I don't understand the meaning of your question. Meaning we don't have much money left. And so the girl was, as she always had been, spoke with bringing the nigiri just brought from the convenience store to her mouth. Also, by the continuing to drive like this, without doubt the gasoline was being used up. Reality, doing nothing, just standing still might have been better. However, doing nothing, being able to do anything, just staying still was painful. Thinking that, I kept driving. In previous experience driving on the smaller roads, it was about just 3 days before the gasoline ran out. Remaining 2,000 yen used to buy food from the convenience store was also 3 or 4 days probably. Clearly the end of things was coming into sight. Hey, you... That place, Narcissu, was it? You want to go there? There's no reply, just the usual gazing out the window as always. I might want to go a bit, maybe. Why? Oh, that's... Of course, from the start we hadn't dashed out of the 7th floor with goals or plans. That's why for me, going west, east, or wherever it was, it didn't matter. I just wanted some goal or destination. Day completely turned into night. It was the same pachinko parlor as the parking lot. Of course, I wasn't planning on making money off pachinko or slots. With merely 2,000 yen, no, it didn't stand a chance. If it was just 10 or 20,000 yen, it'd be easy to steal that much. That was from my previous travel through pachinko parlors, I guess. That much, for the moment, it would be fine. For that, we might even be able to get to Shima. That was why I spoke about my plan to the girl. How about it? You want to try it? No. Let's see, alright. It was about what was expected, but I was plainly refused. It wasn't as if I was expecting anything from the girl. It wasn't as if I sought out her help. Explaining my plans to her was more like a declaration. Well then, wait for a bit. You here in the car, walk towards the Panchico parlor alone. Inside the unexpectedly crowded shop, there were a number of machines, ball dispensers, and a fair amount of people. Here and there were also a number of stacked cash boxes. It might be just right. Making a decision to head towards the slot corner that was my target. While scanning from the aisles, examining the area, I found one machine. Some middle-aged man who definitely looked like an office worker stacked 4 boxes by his feet. Above his head had another 2 stacked. However, it was a corner machine. Neighboring machines were empty. From what I've seen from before, he also didn't seem to have come with any friends or acquaintances. Conditions were lined up. Likely in the state, even if one box by his feet was stolen, he wouldn't notice right away. It was like similar shops. Should be worth some 20,000 yen. We had just that. Simply waited intently for the office worker-like person to head to the restroom. Eventually, about when 30 minutes had passed, finally managed to stop from his seat. Quickly following after, I went to the restroom to make sure. In a rush, I quickly returned to the slot machine. Next, while checking the people who were playing the slots and the shop staff, I slowly approached the machine. Then, wanting to avoid suspicion, acting perfectly natural, put the cash box at my feet. At that instant, a tremendous sound raised at the slot machine and scattered to the floor. Put it up was the plan. Certainly, I raised it up. Once with my hands. However, unable to support the weight, I found up dropping the entire box on the floor. Oh shit. Then always looked over, wondering what caused the loud racket. Thought I heard the sound of voices, or the presence of people running over. But these voices were heard from behind me. Ready by that time, I was 2 meters in front of the shop exit. And the car door behind me. Panting heavily, I started the engine in a big rush and slammed on the gas. Then the wheel hurriedly pulled the car out. At that time, there was a rough metallic grinding sound. And when things couldn't get any fucking worse. Great. Yeah. Oh, our father's gonna be pissed. Not only did we run away, but we have now ruined his car. Maybe because I'd driven up onto the curb or something. Just that moment, I wound up ramming the rear. Gary sound was the nasty sound of the body scraping. However, there wasn't time to worry about that. Drove out onto the road in front of us. While rubbing my chest, which was almost out of breath, drove the silver coupe along the now totally dark road. I was a bit worried about the spot that was hit before, but for now, getting away from that place had priority. Then, driving around 10 minutes, about when we were totally clear of the Panchico parlor, saw the car by some roadside and began inspecting the place that was hit earlier. Is it okay? It's probably nothing major. Passenger seat, the girl called to me, sounding just a tiny bit worried. I inspected the damaged area and answered. Looking at it, the rear bumper was slightly dented, and the muffler tip was a bit cracked. Just that probably wouldn't be a problem driving. Really relieved, I let out a sigh. So close. Immediately, I recalled the events in the Panchico parlor. Failed with just a little bit more to go, but if I did it well, the next time I thought I could succeed. Figured that even though I hadn't been able to carry the cash box, it was only because I hadn't lifted heavy things in a while. If I was prepared from the start, I could probably manage. You'd be mistaken. Huh? You now should be different from the you from before. The girl spoke words as if she was seeing clear through me. With a weight like that, to think of it being the same. It's likely what the girl was saying, right? I didn't want to admit it, but the me from now is different from the me before. Certainly my strength reduced by this much. It was hard to believe I would succeed. Then, what should I do? To that question there came no answer. I was quite gazing at the dark sky beyond the window. It probably was telling me to give up. Stopping time, stopping my heart. Days of simply gathering knowledge. Days of gazing at maps, closing my eyes, travelling to unknown towns. One day, on a monthly magazine I was brought, I stopped on a photo decorating the back cover. With a female model wearing a flashy swimsuit, shot at the water's edge with the sort of pose. With the emerald sea I always saw in my dreams, behind her back, she was smiling. I was sure we were around the same age. That exceptional style, happy and relaxed, directing a smile at me. I don't think I was particularly envious. One thing, I didn't have a swimsuit. Didn't even have any urgent need to have one. Me, if I had pajamas, that was enough. Numerous seasons, white overcast skies, past without even the need to exchange words with anyone. That day, first year of middle school in June, first day I was admitted into the hospital. Remember that I'd ordered a swimsuit, called the swimsuit from a number of years before. Remember the swimsuit that lost its debut that day. Taken out of the trunk for the first time in years. School swimsuit that was still brand new. Taking off my usual pajamas nervously, put on that blue swimsuit. It was a perfect fit. Even though how many years had passed. It felt as if just now I had ordered it. Towards my figure, the monthly magazine's model directed her smiling face at me, smiled with the emerald sea to her back. With that exceptional style, happy and relaxed, directing a smile at me. That was saddening. Didn't think I was particularly envious. Ever, to be honest, might have admired her. Can know that it was impossible. I might have yearned for it even more so. But last scars on my chest advised me to give up. Lifelong companion told me to make do with the world in my closed eyes. Back to January 2nd, 22nd, 2005, so still the same day. The sun slowly slanted, staining the western sky orange. As always, we continued to drive. What should we do now? Money was for the most part tight. Say, I was thinking about that. Surprisingly, the girl spoke to me. You can go take bus? Right now, aside of long bus, I haven't been told to stop. See, something similar to me then. What she was saying was probably whether the doctors have stopped me from taking bus or not. Especially for kidney and digestive disorders, where their tubes were used, bus were often banned. Thinking about it that way, at least the girl probably had a circulatory problem like I did. What, did you want to go take a bath? Problem? No, I also want to take one. So, financially speaking, stopping at a hostel or hotel was out of the question. Well, then, shall we look for a bathhouse someplace? Bathhouse? Something like that. We still haven't the money for. Second thought, I'm fine. What? You're fine? Since that day we left the 7th floor. 3 days have already passed. There, bathing was done twice a week. In order to wipe the body, each day there were 2 warm sponge baths. Well, because of the season, we didn't sweat. We were mostly in the car, so it didn't particularly get dirty, but... Is that you're embarrassed about the bathhouse, so you don't want to go? Not particularly. I didn't mean that. The sun was completely set. A large moon showed its face in the sky. After that, driving for a while, I found a place that looked like a schoolhouse or school somewhere. Here might be just right. Stopped the car on the roadside near the entrance. Then I began fishing through the mass of laundry that had been left in the back seat. Sure, there were 2 or 3 towels. So, pushing aside the clothes that didn't matter, took out what felt like a towel. Had the words Shirashi Construction printed on it. It was likely some marketing thing. It was a shabby towel. Well, wait a bit. Girl looked at me questioningly. Holding to 2 of the shabby towels, I headed to the school in front of us. Climbing over the gate, I peered around the area for the place I was looking for. Ah, there it is. After a while, I found the faucet that I was looking for. Probably there in the gardens. The faucet squeaks loudly. In the faucet, the water flowed out strongly. Cold enough that it felt like it was slicing through one's body. Then, with the towels and firmly wrung them. Turned to the car, slamming the door closed. Sorry for the wait. Here. Taking one of the 2 damp towels I carried, I gave one of them to the girl. And taking off the sweatshirt I wore on top, I went ahead and started to wipe my body. The car interior, well worn from the heater, held the chilly damp towel for good. Don't have to hold back. Wipe your body. Cold and feels good, you know. Alright. First the girl stayed unmoving with a sense of hesitation. But with that answer, she slowly took her hands to the buttons of her clothes. Floppy dress shirt and jeans. Like me, she placed her hand within her clothes and wiped her body that way. Hey, is something the matter? Don't look. Sorry, that's right. On the towel to her hand, the girl murmured with her clothes partially off. I had a face with just a slight bit of reluctance and embarrassment. It was the first time I saw her with that expression. In the cramped car, the 2 of us faced our backs to each other. How about it? Feels good, doesn't it? It was just turning totally dark, and the interior was dimly lit. The glass right in front of me reflected the image of myself wiping my body. And further past my figure reflected the figure of the girl behind my back. Just like me, she had taken off her top and was wiping herself. Without intending to, I saw her. A large scar on her chest could be seen. Likely they were scars from surgery. Didn't know the details, but it was longer than mine. Say, what is it? Is it that unusual? Beyond my back was towards my figure reflected in the glass. January 25th, 2005, so we jump ahead 3 days. Under the clear sky, the silver coupe ran on. So always it continued to run with no destination. Looking back, 3 days had passed. In that span, nothing particularly special had happened. Really particular along the way, we found a particularly free open-air bath. Wasn't really many people around, so at least we managed to take a bath. Other than that, we were towards the bottom of our money. Once again, towards the bottom of our gas tank. Have you gotten a bit tired of it? Not particularly. Two of us were eating convenience store and Nigiri exchanged words. Compared to the food on the 7th floor, it might have been a bit better. But even then, after eating on this for a number of days, it was looking boring. However, even this kind of food, considering our money, would probably end in a few more trips to the store. Sound is noisy. What's this all of a sudden? Sounds like a car. It's gone louder than before. Uh-oh. So it's going to buy us in the house now. Great. Now that you say, it really has. It's likely the cause was that time we fled from the Panchico parlor a few days ago. Muffalo was hit. Hadn't been worried about it, but certainly the sound of the car had gotten a bit louder. Well, this probably wasn't going to get in the way of driving. But before that, the problem right before us was gasoline. It had been pointing empty, and we'd been running like that for 5 minutes. Our money right now amounted to 900 yen. That, unlike last time, it was clearly not enough. If we totally ran out of gas, then there would be nothing we could do. Making a decision, I pulled into a gas station, and moreover, looked for a self-service station. Soon I found one and pulled the car to a stop, at the closest pump out the many lined up. Get some gas. I see. But don't get out of the car. Oh no. Are you gonna do a runner? You're absolutely gonna do a runner, aren't you? Just try not to scrape the car this time. There's no reply. However, she probably also understood what that meant. Opening the car's gas cap, I put in the gasoline by imitating others. The area was one of the customer. The back was a building with vending machines. Could also see someone that looked like a clerk. Most likely that was where one paid the bill. Looking at the explanatory plate on the wall, it seemed that after filling up, one would take the receipt over there. In that case, we could just drive off and run away. Looking around the quiet gas station, that's what I felt. 23, 24, 25, 26. Numbers on the mirror showing the amount of gas pumped. Like before, I thought it was going very slowly. I was very irritated while waiting for the tank to fill. Then, passing 40 liters, just when the tank was about to fill. Welcome. Clerk that seemed to be a part-timer that had been in the building up until now, for some reason ran over here. Great. X-ray, tire pressure, are they all fine? Yes, they're all fine. I see, it's cold, so please be careful. Perhaps intended to be a service, the clerk started cleaning the windows. And that was happening, the pump announced that the tank was full. And with a business-like sound, spat out the receipt. Please make your payment over there. Pausing from the washing windows, the clerk pointed to the building from before. Suddenly I held the receipt, able to think of what to do, wound up standing still. Something the matter, sir? No, nothing. Well, I went back inside the car, then only started up the engine. What should I do? Part-time clerk was starting to clean the rear window now. And Alpha just slammed on the accelerator. Without doubt, the license plate would be noted down. If there was an investigation, we would surely be caught. However, in order to run here, made a decision, firmly stepped on the clutch. Then, when I switched to gear out neutral and was about to enter second... Here. Huh? You can use it. Suddenly the girl took out an envelope. From inside that she took out a 10,000 yen bill and held it out to me. Where the hell were you fucking hiding this? You could have told us that you had this much money on you? Hey yo, why did you not fucking bring it up, girl? You had money? I'd been convinced she had none. If that were the case, I wouldn't have had to go through all that trouble until now. Why didn't you say anything? Did she ask? I mean, I mentioned many times that money was fucking tight. You could have told me, hey, yo, I got money as well. So, goddammit. No, that's because I wasn't asked. Just the answer, once again, as always, she faced the window. Once again, the coupe ran on. Okay, well, now we are very much good now. Okay. Now we had a full tank of gas. However, I had also received 5,000 dual as change. For me, I was more interested about what just happened before. Yeah. Ready question, how much money did you have on you? Hey, you... Yeah, this is all of it. Huh? Before I could speak, the girl offered me the envelope from before. Just like that. Oh, gee, thanks. Is it okay if I use this? Doesn't matter, you can. Inside the envelope I took, there were still 4 10,000 yen bills. And 40,000 yen? That we could probably be fine for a while. But for now, I was more concerned about something else. Why did the girl have so much money? At least the few thousand yen that I had from the start was just what I'd been carrying when we left. However, in the girl's case, I felt it was like she had been prepared in advance. Hey, you... Before you said you didn't like the 7th floor, right? I also didn't like home. I'm the same way. Then you were planning on going somewhere. This is the money for that purpose, isn't it? I remember the girl's words from before. She had said that she would go somewhere while she was still able to move on her own. Asked me whether I wanted to stop her, or wanted to go with her. Then you really did have some place you wanted to go? Not particularly. Can't understand if you say not particularly. There is no place. Just that, looking lonely, she sadly murmured. Then this girl was without a destination, but still picturing some day in the future, simply preparing for all this time alone. I was concerned why she had been doing such an empty thing, but since the girl's lonely profile was confirming that, then what about you? Me, not particularly. Don't imitate me. Not intimidating you. Wait. Yeah, that one. Continue driving without a destination. I who had impulsively flew from the 7th floor, and the girl who didn't have a place to go, but hollowly only continued to prepare. However, right now, it doesn't matter where, I just want to go somewhere. Huh? At least for me, I wanted something to give me direction. Well, how about Awaji Shima that we talked about before? The money we have now is definitely enough to go. Sure that the place would have been fine, even the 7th floor, in some place not home, so long as we could continue going. However, I didn't just want to wander around aimlessly. I think I wanted a goal. Didn't matter what. Do you think I wanted to go too? Not particularly. That answer, once again, she turned to gaze out the window like she usually did. Always her eyes seemed to be looking at something far away. Just what on earth is she looking at, I wonder? What was she thinking? What was she expecting when she came here, I wonder?